Hey, thanks for joining me again on day 8 of our 31-day journey through the book of Proverbs, through the book of wisdom. Today's day 8, so we'll look at chapter 8, Proverbs 8. And this proverb for me, when I first read it, and I encourage you to read it a few times, kind of take notes, doodle in your Bible, if you have a journaling Bible, draw lines, circle words, things that kind of get your attention. But this one, we talked about wisdom being a person before. 1 Corinthians 1:30 said that God, for our benefit, God made Jesus to be wisdom, and that he reconciled us with God, that we could have the right relationship with God because of that. So wisdom isn't necessarily a thing. Wisdom is a person who we can know, we can have a relationship with, that relationship, like any relationship, can mature and grow. So I think this proverb in our study so far has been is interesting to me, because in this one we see the proverb, the wisdom, speaking in the first person. And I don't recall that in the first 7. So you'll see in this, if you didn't notice it, that there's the first person pronoun I, that wisdom is talking to us. So wisdom is a person, wisdom is speaking, and the writer, the author of Proverbs, King Solomon, he personifies wisdom as a female. We know that this was Old Testament, right? He didn't know who Jesus was. By name, or as a person, way before Jesus' time, but we know Jesus. When he was incarnate, God became flesh, right? He was a man who walked on earth. So when you read this proverb, think about Jesus speaking these words, that he's talking to you as we read these quotes. So let me just give you a couple of my observations from a couple of the verses, I think, that just struck me. In verse 12, we see wisdom speaking, and says, I, wisdom, live with good judgment. I live with prudence. That's another word for that. So it's like they're roommates. Wisdom has a roommate. The roommate that lives with him is good judgment. And then he says in the second half of that verse, I know where to discover knowledge and discernment. I know where to discover knowledge and discretion. So wisdom has a roommate, good judgment, prudence, and they have the map, right? They have the treasure map to lead us to knowledge and discernment. So when we get wisdom, we get prudence, good judgment. We then can learn and find and obtain knowledge and discernment. So we get all four when we get wisdom, which I just think is interesting. When we're in our minds, we're thinking this out, that I think for a lot of us, wisdom is a thing. It's intellectual, it's knowledge, it's information, but really it's a person. And what he offers and brings is wisdom, is knowledge, is prudence, and discernment, discretion, right? Being able to work through things in a rational, mature way. Then in verse 17, again, think about Jesus speaking these words, because wisdom is talking. And in verse 17, it says, those who search will surely find me. Now, we knew from earlier Proverbs that all of us can have wisdom. It's attainable. So we all can have it. And the wisdom speaking says, all who search will surely find me. That took my mind. When you start to put Jesus, like thinking and seeing in your mind, Jesus speaking these words, I go to Matthew 7:7, where Jesus is teaching, and he says, keep on asking, you'll receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking and you will find. Keep on knocking and the door will be opened for you, right? Or open to you. And this is how Jesus was teaching to them, to encourage. It's attainable. It's here. I'm here. What you're looking for in God is here. So ask, you'll receive. Seek, you will find. Knock, and it will be opened. And then verse 35, as he's wrapping up this proverb, he says, whoever finds wisdom finds life. So whoever finds wisdom finds life. And that immediately reminded me of Jesus in John 10:10 saying, I came to give them life, and life to the fullest. Right? That he wants us to experience as much of him as we can in this life in preparation for eternity. So whoever finds wisdom finds life. And Jesus says, I came to give them life, and life to the fullest. So we can really see, I think, in this proverb, the parallels between wisdom and Jesus, and bring them together. In the end of the chapter, verses 32 and 34, he says, all who follow my ways are joyful, and joyful are those who listen to me. So all who have wisdom are joyful, they experience joy, and all who listen to wisdom, this is how this proverb started, with wisdom having a voice, listen to me, multiple times, listen to me, have joy. And it just made me think that there's so many times in our lives we lack joy. Do we ever think we're lacking joy because we lack wisdom? And then to go a little bit further, if we're lacking joy, it's because we're lacking wisdom. If we're lacking wisdom, it's because we're lacking Jesus. We need Jesus. If we have Jesus, we have wisdom, we have joy. So I hope that this encourages you a little bit today, and I do ask you to read this proverb again and envision in your mind Jesus speaking these words to you, because He is wisdom, and let that encourage you. And I hope that we draw closer to Him and we can experience the joy that only He can provide. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for Proverbs 9. Have a good day.